Tim Banks. To ask a question to Coach Banks, please hit the raise your hand function. And a reminder, please state your name and affiliation so Coach can get familiar with you. We'll start with Ben McKee.
Coach, Ben McKee with Rocky Top Insider. Coach Heupel talked about you also going to be working with the defensive backs. I'm curious as to which aspects of the defensive backs you'll be working with, whether that's the safeties or the corners, and do you have a preference which ones you'll kind of be working with extensively?
Yeah. Hey, Ben, how you doing, brother? Appreciate the question. No, to be honest, I'll be working with both. I've coached the back end for a long time, obviously played the position. So obviously having Willie Martinez with us, gives me a lot of flexibility. If I'm training the corners, I feel very comfortable that he can train the safeties and, we'll be on the same page. But, anytime you're dealing with the back end, you want to make sure those guys understand and basically hear one message. We can't have anything lost in translation. So, as much as we both can coach the back end and not necessarily the safeties and the corners, but coaching the DBs, I think it just makes it that much smoother in terms of everything that we want to get done.
We'll go to Patrick Brown, then David Pascal.
Hey, Tim, Patrick Brown with 24/7 Sports. I'm curious, what does the process look like for you in terms of getting to know your personnel before you start spring, and how much do you maybe reserve judgment for you, yourself, and your staff of what you want to see what these guys can do when they're on the field once you guys get to spring ball here in a couple weeks?
Hey, Patrick, that's definitely a great question. I think anytime you're trying to build something, you got to know what parts you have, right? So right now, we're evaluating, everything that these guys obviously did last season. We've been fortunate enough to be able to, get around these guys and see them work a little bit in the weight room and, some different movement activities on the field. So at that point, we're just evaluating, trying to figure out, what they do, how they move, and obviously we'll center the package around it. But right now, that's what we're doing. We're just gathering as much information as we can to make sure when it's time for the lights to come on, that we can put these guys in the best possible position to be successful.
Hey, Tim, David Pascal down here at the Chattanooga Times Free Press. I know when Josh was hiring the offensive side, there was a lot of familiarity with all the folks he was bringing up from UCF. A little bit different from you on the defensive side, but you do have Willie and Rodney that coached together at Georgia for a long time. I know Mike also coached at Georgia later, but have you already noticed that familiarity with Willie and Rodney having worked together, and does that help having coaches that have been together like that?
Yeah, I think anytime you get guys have a relationship, I think it helps, and obviously Willie and Coach Gardner having a chance to work together, for a number of years at a different place, I think obviously helps. But at the end of the day, we're building this thing together. I've known Willie, for 20 plus years, going back to my days as a player. And, I've known Rodney probably not quite as long, but obviously, going out and recruiting the South like I did and having a chance to bump into him and, and having some mutual friends, we've really hit the ground running. And, we're definitely building a bond that obviously will bode well for us when it's time to get going.
We'll go to Blake Topmeyer, then Jimmy Himes.
Hey, Tim, Blake Topmeyer with the Knoxville News Sentinel. I was wondering, what's your assessment of the level of talent that you step into here with this defense? And then also, I know you want to be multiple schematically, but do you see yourself more as a four-man front type of defense?
Yeah, again, I think we're still in the, getting to know each other phase. Yeah, Blake, if that makes sense. So, we watch the tape, obviously there's some talented young men out there, or else they wouldn't be at a place like Tennessee, but to what degree and what they can do moving forward, we got to continue to evaluate it. But I feel good. I feel like we'll have a chance to look these guys in the eye and have a strong plan that gets them in the best position to be successful. As far as the 4-3 or 3-4 and, all those type of things, once again, what do we have to work with? Again, as we continue to go through spring, we'll evaluate it, we'll make some decisions moving forward that obviously, puts the players in the best light, which in turn puts our defense in the best light. But right now, we're trying to continue to evaluate the talent level and see what these guys can obviously do and do well.
Coach Jimmy Himes with the Sports Animal in Knoxville. How much of your scheme do you hope to install in the spring?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think just the base, we're always going to put the base in first, and start from the ground up working this thing. As we start to get, more exotic, based on, the appetite that the kids have to be able to digest, some of the more, strenuous mentally things that may be within the package, we'll be able to look at that toward the end of spring would be my guess. But naturally, you want to start from A to B first and work your way to Z. So we want to get the base foundation in, see what these kids can do, see what kind of appetite they have, and then we'll move forward in terms of, putting them in some more what we would deem as exotics.
And also, how difficult is it now to play defense with all these complex offenses, the RPO, the variety of things that you see from week to week?
It's challenging, but I think that's the thing that makes you excited about having an opportunity to play defense. It's a lot of things that, you're going to see week in and week out, but the variations from week in and week out is there as well. So I think that's why you need to be multiple. You play on a team that maybe is more of a power team versus a team that's more spread versus a team that's more tempo. You have to put a system in place that gives these kids a chance to make adjustments, obviously during the game, but for us as coaches, week to week. So, that's the challenge, and it's not for everyone, but for us, we're excited about the opportunity and we're looking forward to, competing and going against some of these high-powered offenses.
Go to Gustavo, then Brent Hubbs.
Gustavo Tomazelli, WHK 90.3 The Rock here in UT campus. First of all, welcome. Tim, so what are your first impressions of the University of Tennessee, being here, the environment, the players? What are your first impressions being here in UT?
It's just a great place, obviously it's to me, the thing that I'm really enjoying so far, it still has that small college town feel, but it has some city amenities. I think we'll be able to attract, some of the best student athletes, around the country because, whether we're recruiting in a small town or if you're going to get a city kid, I don't think it'll matter. I think because Knoxville has a little bit for everyone, and obviously when you start to combine it with, playing in a conference like the SEC and having a chance to, get a great education here, I just feel like we have a product that, we'll be able to sell and sell around the country. So it's been awesome, but I'm really enjoying the town feel, but obviously the city amenities is something that I think will bode well, for the future for all the young men that we're looking for.
Coach Banks, Brent Hubbs with volquest.com. Two things. One, what's the first couple of weeks been like and just trying to get your feet on the ground and get a defense sort of together? And two, what's been the buy-in, in your opinion, on your guys' part, on your players' part for that side of the ball?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, to be quite honest with you, but in a good way. It's obviously a lot of moving parts at play, finishing up the defensive staff and making sure we're getting the right people in here, which we did, and then obviously getting to know your players. And, we understand, we talk to our guys about love, trust, and urgency, and obviously the love is unconditional. We love these guys. The minute I signed the contract, I fell in love, but obviously the trust part, is typically earned over time. So just kind of getting to know these guys and they're getting to know me and figuring out, for me, how to motivate them. And, those guys understand very clearly what my expectations are. That takes time, but I feel like we got a good room. I think we got a good bunch of guys that are hungry to reach their full potential. And, but I understand it's a work in progress, but the trust piece is always big no matter where you go. And that's what we're kind of working through right now. But I'm excited, and I think the group is excited as well.
Last two questions, Wes Rucker, then Mike Wilson.
Yeah, I'm wondering, just to back up a little bit here. And this is Wes Rucker with 24/7 Sports. But backing up a little bit, when you took this job, what made this the job to take at the time for you? I know that for all the upside this program has and the tradition it has, it's not been a great, decade, 12 years or whatever it's been. What made this the right move for you right now?
Well, I think just like with any organization, it always starts at the top with Coach Hype. Obviously the success he's had at UCF and, obviously as an offensive coordinator, I think speaks for itself. and having a chance to, talk to some of my guys that had a relationship with him, and everything that I heard about him being a great man, obviously a great coach, but just a great man, was something that intrigued me. And then I think you said it already, when you start to talk about, Tennessee and the success they've had, a lot of programs are talking about what they want to do. And the reality of it is Tennessee has done it. Obviously, we know there's some work to be done to get back to where we want to go. But at the end of the day, having a chance to work with great people and having a chance to do it together was just an opportunity that I didn't feel like I could pass up on.
Last question, Mike.
Yeah, Tim, Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News Sentinel. I have two parts to the question. One, do you expect Henry Toto and Quavaris Crouch to play for your defense this year? And two, with your recruiting ties to Detroit, is that something you're going to try to work to get guys from, with the talent at King, Cass Tech, Belleville, places like that, to get some of those guys down to Knoxville as well?
Yeah, well, dealing with the first question, we don't have a timeline on those guys. They're not here, obviously, at this point. So, we're super excited about the guys that are here in this program that are working. But, we'll figure that out as we go. But right now, we're just concerned with the guys that are here. As it relates to, the Detroit area or Michigan in general, we're going to recruit nationally. We're obviously going to try to get the best possible student athletes we can, here at UT. But obviously having great ties, to Michigan and the city of Detroit, we look forward to recruiting any of those guys there that, fit what we're looking for in terms of, student athlete. So yeah, we'll definitely open up those pipelines and get this thing going, as we will all over the country.
Thank you, Coach.